Good evening, friends. In today's video, we will be learning about there are various subscription fees that we paid outside the India, and we will analyze the applicability of the TDS provision on these kind of fees that are paid outside India. Right. First of all, we will discussing like we are paying any kind of fee just for accessing the database. Like I want to access the database of the supplier of modules, supplier of inverters, yeah, any kind of any others product supplier. I want to search. I want the access of these kind of data, and I'm taking the help of any other vendor outside India. And does it fall under the TDS provision as per the income tax provision? No, it doesn't fall under the under the income tax provisions of withholding taxes. Reason being, because we are paying the fees just for accessing the database. We are not paying these fees for any kind of technical services. We are not exploiting these database. We are not displaying somewhere else. We are not editing these database, and we can say this is not any kind of technical services as per the provision of income tax that we are not paying any right. We are not getting any kind of rights here. We are just accessing the database, and whatever database the vendor is having, and we are paying the fees. We cannot say that is this is a fees for the technical services. And as per the income tax provision, TDS is not required to be deducted. And then there are two provisions when we are making any payment outside India. We had to check two provisions. One is that is there any provisions under the income tax provision? Is there any provision in the tax treaty? Then if the vendor is based USA, then we will analyze the tax treaty of the US in the versus India. Is there any provisions? Then for that accessing the database, there is no provision for taxability in India. Hence, we can say no TDS is required to be deducted. Like there are other kind of services, like we are any kind of testing kind of services. We are getting tested any kind of product outside India, like, and we are using any kind of things in term of services from the vendor of outside the India. We will check whether we are getting any right of use. We are exploiting it, we are altering the right, we have the alteration right. If we do not have any kind of this right, then definitely we are not required to withholding the taxes on that. And then we will study the tax treaty between the Indian country and the country that the vendor is having. We will study these both the studies, and whatever beneficial provisions are applicable, that we will go with that only. Third one is that if I'm paying any for accessing any educational video to any outside India, then still no TDS is required to be deducted, because we're just accessing the videos. We are not paying anything in terms of technical natures. We are not getting any right to use technical services is not doesn't involve here. And we are not getting any right of edit here, displaying here, exploiting here. That's kind of right we are not getting. We are just accessing the educational video for our learning knowledge, and we can say that it doesn't fall under the technical services. Hence, as per the income tax provisions, we are not liable to deduct the tax. Right, there are the another things like in engineering services. I have procured some kind of software from a vendor outside the India. This is, I have procured the software that I'm not paying any kind of technical services, I'm not paying any kind of technical nature, so I just procure the software. Hence the same will not, because it has been highlighted in a Supreme Court in one of the instances, one of the cases, the TDS is not required to be deducted. Hence in that scenario, we can say it is very imperative, it is very important to analysis tax treaty as well as the income tax provision, whether they are fall under the technical fees for the technical services. If we are not paying anything that doesn't come under the ambit to the fees for the technical services, then we are not required to pay the TTS, and we are not required to withhold the TTS provisions. And again, we have to check the tax treaty between the vendor supplying the services and the Indian. We will study the tax treaty as well. As per income tax provisions, we have to consider both while analyzing the TDS applicability. If still, this is the main provisions regarding the, if any kind of subscription fees where we are paying outside near India, then we can't say that is the fees for the technical services. And TDS provisions are to be analysis very wisely, and it is very important. We are paying anything outside India, then we have to analysis each and every case in different because each case has a different aspect, different feature and different background. So we have to analyze each and every case from a different perspective, and then we can finally suggest for the withholding tax provisions. And this is the regarding the TDS on the subscription fees that we are paying outside the India. Thank you very much.